Hey, it's May 9th. This is Dave Shurter. Um, with regards to these videos, I never wanted to do any of this. You know, when I tried to get my family investigated all those years ago, going to the Nebraska State Patrolman John Pankinen and trying to making him take my DNA to compare it to what was left at the Ricky Chaddick case because my parents were involved with child trafficking, not realizing that John Pankinen was the policeman that made everything go away with Franklin. Alicia Owen was the key to that because she was carrying the chief of police's baby as a minor at the time. And, but they shut her up. I should have known because the dude sent his sister, True, into both mine and my sister's life at the same time. And so it was very bizarre. That's the whole reason why when people, I went to the police and then I went to the media. What I got from the media was career killer over and over and over. No one would help. Then I wrote a book and started a blog and I've done interviews and been all out there and done all this. And when I left Seattle, I wanted to just leave it all behind. But shamanically, I was being told that not only could I not leave it behind, but I needed to start talking about the spiritual stuff about it. And I didn't want to do that. Now, people don't have a clue what shamanism is. For me, shamanism is a tool. You listen to a beating of a drum that's constant, and it tricks your brain into thinking it's asleep. So your brain goes into delta waves instead of alpha. You're able to have a waking dream. You know, dreams and visions is how God spoke to everyone, or all the people throughout the Bible. But I guess that doesn't work anymore. For me, it worked. And I have had amazing spiritual stuff. I mean, I was tortured and thought I was going to be the vessel for the Antichrist. And that led me down a journey that's different from anyone else's journeys, especially considering the shit that Michael Aquino and his little government MK Ultra project that he was working with at Offutt Air Force Base, they gave me a lot of tools. And I didn't want to talk about the shamanic stuff, the stuff that I talk about that I see in when I do my journeys. Because basically, but the stuff, and I also want to explain real quick now that I'm thinking about it. I don't want people to think that I make these videos and then this takes on my whole day. I make these videos so then I can get away from it and not have to think about it. I feel like I did something about it and then I don't have to think about it. I'm very good at compartmentalization, So I do these videos, I upload them, and then I go throughout my day. And my day is full of love, really, I'm loved by a lot of people and just I'm really lucky as far as that goes. And so, and I feel very blessed. But I didn't want to talk about the shamanic stuff, the spiritual stuff. And I got compelled to do it because when God tells you to do something, in my experience, if you don't do it, then you get thumped. And it's not pleasant to get thumped. And so I'm talking about the spiritual stuff. Along with that, let me just explain. The things that I'm explaining as far as the earth falling apart, this is stuff that me and my classmates learned in fucking middle school, And the only reason why people don't want to, they don't believe it because they don't want to believe it. That's what I get a lot of too, Not only do they don't want to hear it, even people that actually care about me that are out here, not people that have known me all this for a long time, but since I got back in Iowa, they don't want to hear it. You know, they want to be oblivious to it. And there's nothing I can do about that. But I make these videos so that if there is even one person who's out there who can clue in on what I'm saying and it's the truth, because the sun is doing the shit that it's doing. There was just a report out this week that the oceans are hotter now than ever before in recorded history. Hot oceans bring on furious hurricanes and all kinds of bizarre weather. And we're now going into an El Nino, which is a higher activity of weather because of the oceans being warm. And the sun is blasting us. We're getting hit with the CME today, let alone solar flares. It's constantly hitting us with heat and radiation. All of this violence that we're starting to see, the commonality between all of these shootings and all of this weird stuff, because you take away the mass shootings, I would be willing to bet there's all kinds of weird shit going on. And the reason why is because the sun is inundating us with not only heat, but radiation. And that radiation, they have said, is having a psychological effect on everything, nature and mankind. You can't be inundated with constant bombardment of radiation and not be affected by that. And we're all being affected. Spiritually, it's in judgment. If you have darkness inside of you and you're so inclined to that, what we're going through now with this radiation and all of that, it's going to draw it out of you. Things are only beginning to get bad. And I never wanted to tell people all of this because I know the message is intense and it sucks, but God is here. We're in judgment. All of this is getting ready to burn away. It's not just in America, it's all over the planet. The Jordan River is now gone, And I just watched something where they were talking about the Aurora Borealis and how he probably couldn't see it in Texas because it was cloudy that night. The Aurora Borealis is supposed to be in the north part of the planet. Alaska and Canada sees the Aurora Borealis. If we're seeing the Aurora Borealis in Texas in a way that seems to be just, and it is because it's getting around all over. That's not normal. That's not natural, and it has nothing to do with climate change. It has everything to do with the fact that the sun is burning us away. God exists. We're in judgment. We're in the time of sorrow. The mighty are falling, and they are all over the planet. They're all having issues. Everywhere they're ruling, not just America, every place. We're at the end. And I never wanted to tell people this stuff, but now I realize that, fuck it, who cares? We're at the end. All you can do is fill your heart with as much love as you can. And turning away from evil it's not the key. That's the reason, if I had to focus on getting my parents investigated and having it go to court and having criminal justice, I would have given up hope a long time ago. Considering that every one of my friends that I got involved with this, they've murdered. I'm the only one left alive. They've murdered everyone else. They've tried to murder me over and over and over. And I know that it's hard to understand when I talk about Mike Aquino and the stuff that they taught me. But shamanism saved my life. The abuse, actually, from what they're doing, I talk about shamanism going into delta waves. Well, they're directed energy weapons. That's what it does to a person. It constantly keeps their brain on an alpha wave, so they never get any deep sleep. You never get any real rest. And that is happening. That's what they're doing. The only reason that I'm actually able to sleep, because a lot of times it just kills people. They drop over dead of exhaustion, heart attack, strokes. That it's a convenient little secret toy they have. The reason why I'm able to sleep is because through shamanism and therapy, I can dissociate at will. Dissociation is a tool if it doesn't control you. And so I just separate my mind from my body, and it allows me to go to sleep. Can't stay asleep, and especially 3 o'clock in the morning. They turn that shit up at 3 o'clock in the morning every goddamn morning. And so, but karma's going to be a bitch, because what's coming for them? What's coming? There's two paths. The light, which consists of filling your heart with love and being as good of a person as you can, regardless of what happens. All these people who are out there, those who cling to their lives are going to lose their lives. That's how it works. And, but if you're, stand up, the only other path is to the dark. And way more people are on that path. There's only, worldwide, probably a handful. And none of them believe that they're so superior that they're going to be raptured into the sky because they're superior and don't have to deal with the mess. So they get whisked away and saved from any of it. Dumbest thing I've ever heard. However, I will say that with this directed energy weapons, because I don't feel well anymore. I'm exhausted by the end of the day. It is wearing me down. But it is doing me a favor, because the chaos that's beginning now, and this is only beginning, is going to get significantly worse. And I know that a lot of people are focused about the southern border and all of that. When all of this gets going with the tornadoes and the flooding and the rain and all of the weird ass weather that we've already been experiencing, but because it's going to become summer, is going to intensify, they're going to be doing the same thing everyone else is doing. Migrating, running. These towns that have gotten hit with tornadoes and decimated, where do you think those people go for the most part? You think they just stay there and rebuild? And how many of these natural disasters do you think the insurance companies are going to be able to pay for? The economy is getting ready to crash. Banks are already starting to fail because there's no rules. They've gotten rid of all of the rules. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want. And we have a rise in Nazism. And Nazism and hatred go hand in hand. That's how it works. They ain't going to like what's coming for them. They aren't. Most of us aren't going to like what's coming. Fill your hearts with love. Save yourselves. If that message is so controversial, then I can guarantee you're on the wrong path.